excitement never stopped as the Utah State football team came home Mountain West champions. Welcome to Cache Rendezvous. Not only are we celebrating the Aggie football team coming home with the championship, we're celebrating winter break. I'm Fa'aititi Tuileta.
And I'm Sarah Murphy. We're here at Cherry Peak Ski Resort in Richmond. The resort says their base elevation is at 5,775 feet. They have over 400 skiable acres and get an average of 320 inches of snowfall per season.
Coming up on this show, we'll show you why we're at a ski resort in December, but we're only standing on a patch of snow.
And we'll take a look at snowstorms throughout history.
And we'll show you some sports you can get into, even if you can't go skiing quite yet.
But first, we can't resist showing you the highlights from the Aggie football championship game. The Aggies didn't just win, they demolished San Diego State. The first quarter was all defense. Quarterback Logan Bonner was brought down by Keyshawn Banks, but the Aggies handed it right back to the Aztecs after this sack by number 42, Nick Henniger, and a few more helpers. But the offense came to play in the second quarter with back-to-back touchdowns. Logan Bonner connected with Derek Wright with this 5-yard pass, and number 4, Calvin Tyler Jr. walked in from 1 yard to stretch the Aggie lead to 14-0. Coming into the second half, the Aggies were up 14-3, and the lead only got better from there. Logan Bonner launched this bomb to wide receiver Brandon Bowling, who skipped into the end zone. Unfortunately, Bonner also threw a perfect pass right into the hands of number 33, Patrick McMorris. After that drive ended in a field goal, it was almost all Aggie from there. Bonner hit another touchdown to Brandon Bowling, and the Aggies recovered an Aztec fumble on the very next drive. 2 more Aggie touchdowns, including this one from Bonner to wide receiver Justin McGriff, and this rushing touchdown from Calvin Tyler Jr. sealed the deal for the Aggies. San Diego State managed one answering score, but it wasn't even close to enough. The Aggies won the championship game 46-13.
Aggie Nation has always been great, and we won. It's a great day to be a champion, baby. It's a great day to have a great day.
Hey, yo, it feel good. We got the fans out here. Without the fan base, man, we wouldn't be nowhere. They done turned us up every game. Hey, hard work everywhere. Hey, and we want that coach of the year. We want that coach of the year. Yeah.
It feel like money. It feel like a championship.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
The Aggies will play Oregon State at the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl in Inglewood, California on December 18th.
Football's had a successful season, but up here, it's ski season. But how do you ski without the snow? I dug a little deeper to find out where the snow is and how Cherry Peak is handling the bare slopes.
Skis are hanging and boots are still lined on the shelves from last season.
Kids immediately think, Christmas break, I'm going skiing.
But they can't ski down a dirt hill.
We gotta really hope for those snowstorms coming up. I haven't seen it this bad for quite a few years.
Utah boasts the greatest snow on Earth, but where is it?
Utah has experienced a historic drought in this last year, and that has had all sorts of changes on the hydro cycle of northern Utah.
We are the second driest state in the country with the fastest growing population. People use a lot of water, and we have one of the highest water use per capita in the country and low water costs.
Researchers say this drought is worsened by a larger issue: climate change.
It's not only a water and resource concern, but it's also a health concern.
Bigalki says at one point in August of this year, Salt Lake City had the worst air quality in the world, beating out cities like Santiago and Dubai.
Just like when you take a hot versus a cold shower, researchers say a warm atmosphere can hold more moisture, which can cause extreme weather.
Extreme event means during the one day, if you have a lot of snow, it's super huge, right? Extreme. In the climate change, one of the impact of climate change is this extreme event.
An extreme snowstorm at the beginning of October looked like winter was coming early.
We are seeing changes in the snow quality because it's warmer. So the snow is going to be heavier.
This heavy snow caused damage in Cache Valley, but the heavy snow also means
it definitely compacts and makes the snow a lot less fun to ski on.
This is one of Cherry Peak's new snow machines. They sit at a lower elevation, so they use the machines to help make and maintain snow for you to come and ski on. But to even use the machines, they have to have water.
So when those temperatures dropped last week. We were really excited, started making a lot of snow, and as you can see, all we have left is kind of like right around the lodge. We can only blow out so much.
It's not just an ecological problem. The drought also causes financial problems.
Drought has definitely caused some issues at the ski resorts for both seasons. We do concerts in the summer. We weren't able to have them up here on the last few concerts because of the heat actually in the drought and because of how high the temperatures were, and it was kind of like a safety issue.
And for the winter season?
When we opened late, obviously we missed out on 2 weeks of ticket sales, and just as well as rentals here in the shop. I know we usually on those busier days on the weekends, like 2 Saturdays makes us enough to go another month, you know. So if we miss out on those Saturdays, it definitely affects us.
It's hard not to care about water in Utah because you're interacting with it in some form, whether you're skiing or fishing or boating or just at Utah State trying to look at the mountains that should have snow on them right now. And we can really feel the changes that are happening.
We're just hoping that with all the climate change and the drought kind of slowing down, and hopefully we get some more weather coming our way and we'll get open in the next couple weeks.
Bagalki says this is the lowest the Great Salt Lake has been since 1850.
And researchers say that's not good. Low lake levels affect Utah both environmentally and economically. You can see the effects of the drought at the Great Salt Lake, but also here in the valley. A shortage of hay caused Hardware Ranch to cancel its sleigh rides this winter. Dalton Renshaw shows you what effects the drought has had on wildlife at Hardware Ranch and across the state.
Water levels across the state of Utah are at all-time lows. Hay isn't grown at the same volume as in years past. Utah is in a drought.
A lot of it's weather dependent, and I don't have sway with whoever controls that.
Shown on the utah.drought.gov map, 78.7% of Utah is in D3, which is labeled extreme drought conditions, and 9.7% of the state is in D4, or exceptional levels of drought. Animal populations have struggled with the lack of water and availability of hay.
The most valuable hay is often alfalfa. Alfalfa is a really water-intensive crop.
Hardware Ranch decided to close its sleigh rides for winter 2022. With a shortage of hay production in 2021, what would normally be close to 250 tons of hay for the ranch ended up being closer to 50 tons. The decision had to be made how to allocate the hay that they do have.
We started looking in August and September saying, okay, this is the amount of hay we have. And what is the best use of that hay?
Out here where it's dry and you're using irrigation water, it can negatively influence fish.
I'm here at Logan River at the mouth of Logan Canyon. This water here is relatively warm, but as water temperatures have started to rise due to climate change, some fish have started to move upstream to reservoirs with colder water temperatures. Bodies of water like this, further up in elevation, are more suitable for most fish species that do better in colder temperatures. Experts say as the water levels start to drop, fish moving upstream could start to be more of a common occurrence.
Bull trout, which is one of the most cold stream dependent, will end up with a really small place. And then you'll end up with things like walleye and smallmouth, which will actually expand their range.
One of the things we're doing is we're modeling where is that habitat going to be, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, et cetera. Because when you think into the future, one of the things that we may see is some lower elevation waters are going to be too warm for trout.
But Roper says effects on fish migration due to climate change aren't just a problem for the future.
In the Logan River, you got first, second, and third dam, so if they can come down, but they can't go back up.
Fish aren't the only group of animals affected by climate change in Utah. Because of the lack of snow, deer and elk populations aren't sticking to their normal routine for the winter.
Typically, this time of year, I'm used to having anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of snow on the ground and 300 to 500 animals out there on the meadow. And we might have about 50 that are kind of hanging out in the area, but they're not out here every day.
But not everyone is negatively affected by the drought.
One thing that might be kind of counterintuitive to people is actually the fishing and the fish, for the most part, seem to do pretty well during the drought. In fact, the fishing's usually spectacular because you concentrate the fish into a lot less water.
As the water volume draws down, you have more fish per acre. And so to a certain point, it can increase fishing success.
Droughts, if they're not real prolonged, can actually be a very good thing.
As climate change continues to make an impact on the rivers and reservoirs across the state, Roper believes the next challenge will be to decide which populations to prioritize.
The next generation's task is, where do we put money and effort in to save fish species, right, the native fish species, and where do we decide it just not worth the expenditure?
Dalton Renshaw, Cache Rendezvous.
Wildlife biologists weren't able to say exactly how much rain or snow we'd need for the drought to be considered less of a factor, but they did say the long-term effects we can expect to see for the next couple of years.
Cache Valley could definitely use a few storms. And with that, it's time to introduce the Cache Rendezvous Storm Center. The National Weather Service says the Great Blizzard of 1888 hit the East Coast with as much as 50 inches of snow in some areas. New York City was a complete whiteout as hurricane-force winds hurled through the city. People were left stranded as they tried to make their way to work. They were blocked by snowdrifts that reached the second story of some buildings. This blizzard is considered one of the worst in American history. And coming up,
not tried any other skating. I have not put a pair of hockey skates on my feet ever.
We'll show you what makes these icy sports different and what makes them the same.
I brought 700. That was all I could fit in here.
700 nativities isn't even half of her collection. Make your guesses now and we'll tell you how many she has when we come back.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Hi.
I believe.
I believe that.
I believe that we.
I believe that we will make a difference.
We will treat everyone with respect.
We will stop violence of every kind on campus.
We will build each other up and not tear each other down.
We will know where to get help when a friend is struggling.
We will value the dignity in every person.
We will stand up to protect our Aggie family.
There's hundreds of skis here in the ski shop, but this is nothing compared to one woman's nativity collection.
I love it. That will always be my favorite.
Anne Neville brought 700 of her nativities because that's all she could fit in this North Logan church. She says she owns more than 2,000 different scenes from over 130 countries. But Neville says she doesn't collect all of these nativities just to see people's reactions.
These nativities have a really deep meaning for me, and I've learned so many things through collecting them.
Neville says these nativity scenes have helped her and others learn more about the world and their ancestors. Neville says she hopes her nativities will help others feel the joy of the Christmas season.
Joining us now, Yvonne Bass tells us why ski boots aren't the only thing people are slipping into this season.
Thanks, Sarah. Utah might be known for having the greatest snow on earth, but I learned about some sports that don't use snow. They use ice.
Hockey, speed skating, figure skating, all sports done on ice. These skating sports might seem similar, they're actually very different. Even within figure skating itself,
There's different types of skating, like there's ice dance and technical and showcase.
figure skates come in small sizes. Many skaters start as young as 3 years old.
I've been skating for 17 years.
Starting early can help skaters develop to competitive levels.
I'm technically a triple gold medalist.
But some say they do it for the feeling it gives them.
Once you get out here, everything goes away and you don't have to think about anything, you just skate.
There's no pressure to do like good or anything, it's just for fun.
So much fun!
Skaters say all this time on the ice doesn't isolate them.
I've absolutely loved every single minute I've spent with these girls. Although you compete as individuals, you are a family.
It's different in hockey. Hockey is a team sport.
The team here is my family. It teaches you respect, teaches you a lot of discipline, and it teaches you just how to get along with people.
Wolcott says the team prepares for games with an optimistic mindset.
So we just stay positive and think about what we can do best.
Wolcott says when he's on the ice, he clears his mind.
I kind of try to chill out, just try to look at the plays and just kind of have fun.
However, the goalie has a lot more going on in his head when he plays.
I talk to myself the entire game. I just tell myself to give my team a chance and just to relax, stay calm, let the game come to me, and save every shot.
The USU hockey players say they're dedicated to their sport. Anderson says at 14, he moved away from his family and friends.
All to play hockey.
Anderson's teammates also say they've made sacrifices.
I'm really far from home.
Wolcott moved away from his family in Alaska to play hockey at Utah State, but he says the team has become another family. Wolcott says support goes a long way.
We love our fans. We want to do our best for you guys.
No fans are intense as our fans. We have the best fans in all of ACHA.
These players say hockey makes their lives better.
I don't know what I'd do without hockey today.
Figure skates and hockey skates have a few differences. Figure skates have a toe pick, which helps the skaters with their tricks. Hockey skates are rounded, which helps them with speed. Milan and Oxford universities say that original skates were made from animal bones, which helped the hunters in harsh winter conditions. They kind of resembled something a little closer to speed skates.
Types of skates might differ. People wearing them share ambitions and drive. Like Wolcott, speed skater Derek Parra doesn't know what he would have done without his sport.
I could have went to gangs, or I went to this skating gang, and I went to this skating family that was kind of like my gang.
Between paying to skate and paying for food, most of us would choose food, not Parra. He would resort to eating from the trash when he worked at McDonald's.
And the manager would say, okay, who's going to throw away the trash? And I said, I will.
Parra says he didn't plan on doing this winter sport. He did plan on giving his all in whatever he did.
I was very focused on trying to get a little bit better, not knowing what the end goal would be.
Before ice rinks, Parra thrived in roller skating rinks. He transitioned at 26, tired of waiting for the Olympics to pick up rollerblading. At the time, he was the most decorated inline speed skater.
A lot of my development as a person, I believe, came from those people on roller skates. They saw that dream in me, and for some reason, they offered their help.
You can tell he loves the crowd, he loves the energy.
Parra says people who supported him made his dream possible.
Derek Parra.
Have that moment that only lasted a few minutes while the national anthem's playing, but the experiences that I learned will have guided me through my life.
Speed skating, hockey, and figure skating, different techniques, different skills, but they share more than the cold, hard ice. Athletes from all of these sports say their communities keep them warm.
So, Yvonne, it seems like in order to do all those different sports, it must require a lot of skill. Is that right?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. But I think the hardest part about learning how to skate is the ice, when you keep falling on it.
You're probably right. And with that, let's take a look at our next icy storm center.
I see what you did there.
The National Weather Service says this ice storm that hit Hastings, Nebraska in December of 2006 caused major damage to trees and power lines. Most areas were covered in a half an inch of ice, and some even reported an inch. The storm brought everything from ice to snow to sleet. The power was down and so were the temperatures, making for an icier day than usual. And coming up,
not in a million years,
this family might look traditional to you. The way they got here was anything but.
Will these slopes be covered in snow soon? We'll give you the storm outlook coming up.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego. I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
This New York City November storm in 1915 had people getting creative with snow removal. National Weather Service photos shows people piling snow in the center of the roads. Snow was dumped down the sewers, plows were attached to horses, and they were attached to trucks.
Welcome back. We're wrapping things up here in the Grand Room. If you saw the Cache Valley family, the Mons, at the store, you might think they're like any other family. But as I found out, it seems like the less traditional they are, the happier they become.
That's a good one. Here's some little ones.
The holiday crafts,
Nixon, do you want a treat?
musical toys, and kids annoyed at mom's questions.
Are you making snow?
No.
Oh.
They look like your traditional family. They're eating candy.
Oh.
They know what they want from Santa.
The second biggest Lego Minecraft set. Soccer cards.
But this family wasn't built in a traditional way.
Lots of years of not being able to get pregnant, and finally decided that at a certain point after the fertility and all the doctors, that adoption was the next step.
A decision they didn't expect.
Most people don't just jump into a marriage and go, let's adopt a baby. You know, it's a journey that you end with, but it takes it's a process to get to.
But they smiled as they left that tradition behind.
For us, it was really easy and almost exciting to close that door and move on to that next chapter of adoption.
In 2009, the Mons adopted their first child, Hensley. A year later, Nixon.
Hensley, our 12-year-old, and Nixon, our 10-year-old, their birth moms were best friends. And so we met our second birth mom through our first birth mom. We actually have pictures of our second birth mom holding our first daughter at the hospital before she was ever pregnant, because she was friends with Lindsay, her birth mom.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
These are the Mon kids with their birth moms. So that tradition of the birth mom getting rid of all contact, they abandoned that too.
Our children know who their birth families are, love them, actually go and spend weekends with them. They come and spend weekends at our home. So were you in Addie's tummy?
Yes.
Yes.
You know that.
I do know that.
The Mons have an open adoption relationship with the birth families.
What does it mean to you that you're adopted?
They say they believe it helps their kids understand.
What does that mean?
You were with your mom, but she wasn't ready to be a mom.
While they say it wasn't an easy adjustment,
Coming home from the hospital, and Hensley's birth mom posted pictures of her baby, and everyone commented how beautiful of a mother she was. And I was at home holding Hensley, feeling like I was her mother, but there was this other mother.
It's worth it.
Both of us as women love these kids. Isn't that what everybody wants? Is that just more people that love your child? And man, I have a whole slew of people that love my kids. Oh, look. She keeps shaking it.
Then fell tradition 3.
Hensley, we didn't know she had any special needs when she was born. It was just about 9 months to a year when we started noticing she was missing these milestones.
We started seeing specialists and doctors and started doing a lot of therapies. And we had years and years of looking for a diagnosis for her.
They found it 2 years ago. Hensley has TRAPS C9, a genetic disorder that affects her neurological development.
Where's the headphones? Can you go get them? Go get them.
So she's nonverbal. She has kind of the mentality of a 2-year-old.
Is your bed?
Hensley sleeps in a special bed.
So it's nice because these both close.
Has special toys, and uses a special iPad to communicate.
I want to go to McDonald's.
McDonald's?
The moms say that with this comes its challenges.
Everything's hard, from going to church to getting ready in the mornings to jumping in the car and running to the store. She'll have meltdowns in the middle of the floor at the grocery store.
But they say the joy she brings outshines it all.
What is your favorite thing about your sister?
Her laugh.
Her laugh? What do you like about it?
It's funny.
Do you ever fight with your brother or sister?
Yes, a bunch.
What do you guys fight?
Actually, not hens, but my brother.
Why don't you fight with hens?
Because she can't talk or anything.
She can light up a room with her little laugh. When she's happy, it's the most contagious thing you've ever seen.
Can you say hi? Yeah.
Good girl.
Jesse and Jamie say they believe Hensley is not only teaching her brothers, but she's teaching them.
I had it planned out, definitely not what I'd planned, but worth it, and I feel much for the better. I'm a way better man because of it.
I appreciate things that I would never have appreciated before. I get to see the love that these kids have for their birth families. This is the exact journey I needed in my life. My kids, they're my whole life, and I'm a completely different person than I was when I started, and I'm super grateful for that.
As far as the future goes, the moms say they're planning on taking things one day at a time.
And as far as our storm future goes, let's take one last look at our storm center. Luckily for Cache Valley, the snow we've gotten for the past couple of days is forecasted to continue. There's a 30% chance of snow Sunday and a 20% chance of snow on Monday, with a slight chance of snow moving throughout the rest of the week. Temperatures will stay in the high 30s and 40s, so we'll see how much of this forecasted snow sticks around. Looking ahead to Christmas and New Year's, it's predicted to be fairly mild. Cache Valley is looking cloudy, but it could be cold with temperatures dipping into the high 20s.
Thanks for joining us on this winter break edition of Cache Rendezvous.
You can find this and previous editions of our show on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some more shots from football and winter sports.
Have a great winter break, Cache Valley.
There is a road laid out for me.
Boxes everywhere. And this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind.
Would you really like it?
I hope so. Yeah. I know this road is there for me. There is a long way.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
The ways down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
I got this.